Hello YouTube, TW here, and welcome to my stream conscious style video on Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And no, you are not losing your marbles. This is indeed the second video I've done on this game, and with good reason. That being just how overshadowed it is by not only Spider-Man 2, but, well, every game released in the past few years. Rift Apart honestly feels quite forgotten compared to the rest of Insomniac's catalog, and I'm here to correct that, or at least that's my intention. Also, there will be test spoilers, so beware, y'all. The gameplay is what we've all come to expect from a Ratchet & Clank title at this point, running and gunning with some platforming sprinkled throughout for a bit of flavor. The weapon variety is pretty astounding, especially when you consider how many games deep into the RNC franchise we are at this point. Insomniac could have easily phoned it in, but they said, nah, we still got a trick or two up our proverbial sleeves. Whilst we don't get every weapon from the past returning, you still have more than enough to absolutely obliterate the health bars of most bosses in relatively quick fashion. And for the record, I'm playing through the game on New Game Plus and normal difficulty, which means while my weapons are more OP, so should the enemies, but when you combine the Sprinkler, Ms. Fungal, and whatever big honkin' gun is in your arsenal, they really don't stand much of a chance. This goes triple for the early game bosses and enemies, but that's to be expected. You gotta ease players in before you ramp up the difficulty after all. Before we venture any further with the gameplay, we gotta give some context via the story as it is relatively important. To put things in the most brass tacks way, Ratchet & Clank's friends put on a huge celebration for the duo, and of course, longtime nemesis Dr. Nefarious shows up to ruin it. In the ensuing chaos, Ratchet, Clank, and the not-so-good Doctor get transported to an alternate dimension where Nefarious always wins. It's here where our duo gets separated for most of the game, which begs the question of whom gets paired with Clank. That would be our actual protagonist of the game, Rivet, voiced by Jennifer, Commander Fuck Mothering Shepherd Hale! And I say real protagonist because, well, she is the first person we see when we boot up the game. As for Ratchet, he actually spends the entire first level alone and doesn't get a robot bud until the next one, where he pairs up with Kit, voiced by Deborah I'm More Than a Mad TV Alumni Wilson. I really enjoy the dynamic the two teams have here as, for like the first time ever, Ratchet has to build chemistry with someone other than Clank, and vice versa. And on top of that, this game's narrative tells a great story of Rivet and Kit eventually becoming their own team, but it's not without its hardships. For example, before Kit turned face, she worked for this dimension's overlord, Emperor Nefarious, as a warbot and, well, literally shot Rivet's arm off, and once Rivet discovers this, it definitely takes time to heal that mental wound. The main gameplay mechanic provided from all this great story is the ability to interact with rifts that are littered all over the place. Sometimes they give you a tactical advantage in battle, and others they're used to assist in platforming. And if you're the type to do a bit of exploring, you can find rifts tucked away that house platforming challenges, which will unlock different armor pieces for customization. First off, these optional platforming levels rule. I especially love the one modeled after Crash Bandicoot, and you cannot tell me it wasn't. This is Insomniac we're talking about here, and I'm almost certain they're still best buds with Naughty Dog. As for the armor, while looking cool AF, they also provide stat bonuses, but don't worry, you get buffs just for collecting the armor, so if you want to rock Ratchet & Rivet's default appearances only, you can! If you've followed this channel for any length of time, then you'll know I love making my playable characters look unique as possible. If for no other reason, it adds a bit of flair to every playthrough, and speaking of those, in at least one, I've collected basically everything outside the Krager Bears because those are not marked on any map. I did, however, collect all the gold bolts, which is why Ratchet and Rivet wield keyblades, and the regular bolts are now rupees, or I'm sorry, the legally distinct rubies. Just more things to make a playthrough feel personally yours, and that rules. One area where Rift Apart really shines is its utilization of PlayStation 5's solid-state drive, which means damn near instant loading. This doesn't just mean from level to level, mind you, it also means that when a rift opens, you're really going to another area instantly. This is shown off during the prologue when Ratchet and Clank are thrown from dimension to dimension, and it's all done in real time. Like, this isn't a cutscene, this is all happening, and I really can't put into words how big of a leap in technology this is. Even going back to as recent as the PS4, this would be at the very least incredibly difficult to pull off here, as the devs at Insomniac are able to do so with ease here. And because of the leap in tech, we got some fantastic set pieces. This game, more than any other RNC title, feels like a blockbuster in the best way possible. Sure, not every level has one, but when they show up, they feel amazing. Points also have to be given for how great the cutscenes look. Listen, I'm not the biggest, I need my graphics to be perfect type, but when everything is done so well, you gotta give credit where it's due. It's especially great when you consider how stilted the cutscenes were in the reboots, and that was mainly due to crunch, which, by all accounts, did not happen during the development of Rift Apart. Do you see, games industry? If you just give a good dev team some good time, you'll get a goddamn good game, you fucks. Do you want to know why I really love this game? It's because before I played it for the first time, I was in a really dour place and needed any type of pick-me-up. So my best friend called the local GameStop. They actually had a PS5 in stock. We went down there, I made myself a purchase, and this is one of the games that came with it. And since then, that's what Rift Apart has meant to me, a light in the darkness, and for that, thank you, Insomniac. Thank you. Oh, and these ending credits are pretty awesome as well, but I'm not going to show off too much of them, as TWK players should earn seeing them due to how much effort was put into animating them and making them look as amazing as possible. And that's the video, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed it. As for what's next, we're heading back to the PlayStation 2. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a perfect rest of your day.
Traps, warp bombs, 5 planet-destroying cannons, and a surveillance state covering the entire city. If only that blasted Dimensionator still worked.
Clank.
Huh?